welcome back. And we're moving into our second conversation for today, getting the details about a funding opportunity out of the U.S. Embassy. And we have with us this morning Christine Valerio, who's a grant officer representative, and Nathan Bland, who's the acting deputy chief of mission. Good morning and welcome, and thank you for being here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so we're talking about a funding opportunity where the application period is soon coming to a close, right? And it is under the CARSI initiative. So Nathan, let's talk about what this particular funding opportunity seeks to be able to assist organizations with.
Okay. So this is the Central America Regional Security Initiative Economic Support Funds, which is our one of our main funding streams for operating here in Belize.
Yeah.
And it's overall focused on enhancing citizen security. This year, as you know, I've been on the show a few times in the years past, and we've done the same spiel, but it was about a different topic, right? So in the past few years, it's been about trying to focus on at-risk youth, doing economic opportunities for at-risk youth and job training and such. This year we're taking a different tact. We're focusing on strengthening government and civil society and trying to promote democracy and such. So this year it's going to be the same type of funding. There's 1.5 million US dollars in grants that are available. Each grant has to be between a minimum of $200,000 to $400,000 maximum. So we anticipate awarding about 3 to 5 grants. The theme this year is strengthening government through civil society engagement, right? And there's 2 different objectives. And this is our first time doing this, so I'm anticipating that we're going to be waiting to see what kind of creativity and what kind of thinking that the grantees, the applicants propose and go from there. But the 2 objectives are, the first one is trying to improve government service delivery to regions that are remote, or to populations that are vulnerable or marginalized in areas, and so civil society working with the government to expand or improve those service delivery, right? Yeah. And by civil society, we mean NGOs, non-governmental organizations, educational institutions, nonprofits, public international organizations like UN entities and such. And it's for local and international organizations to apply for these grants.
Okay.
And that first objective is for them to work with the government on trying to expand the service delivery reach to places or people that might not be being met right now.
Okay.
And this could be like maybe providing assistance to people who are victims of trafficking persons, or of domestic violence, gender-based violence, or maybe even helping people with disabilities or mental health
or healthcare,
issues. Healthcare, absolutely, healthcare. So a wide range of issues that people may identify that the government isn't providing yet. So they'll have to work with
the criteria you're talking about there is that these persons are already a bit marginalized. Your target population are people who are not easily accessible to the formal systems of government, right? So you'd be seeking funding to kind of be the intermediary.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But working with government. So
with government, yeah.
So like say an organization wants to work with the Ministry of Human Development to try to reach, say the elderly. You know, like maybe there's not enough services being provided for the elderly, for example.
Okay.
And they work with the ministry to come up with some kind of program that will be put in place, but also be sustainable, so that it lasts much longer than after the grant, because these grants are about 1 to 2 years, 2 years pretty much. Yeah. And then we want something that'll last. So I spoke about the first objective.
That's the first one, yeah.
The second objective is working through civil society, once again, working with government to try to reduce corruption or the sense of impunity in the country. So working with government to either effect legislative reforms or changes, such as maybe working on pieces of the UN Convention Against Corruption, trying to help the government meet its goals and objectives under that, or maybe trying to remove barriers of prosecution, say for TIP victims once again, or for GBV victims, or maybe even providing legal services, legal aid to people who don't really have that access, right? Or maybe working with the immigration department to work through some of the issues that we're seeing there.
Okay.
So those are the 2 objectives. One is reducing corruption and impunity, improving government transparency, and the other one is extending service delivery.
Now, both of these particular objectives require for the the grantee to work along with government. So it's almost a partnership approach.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to strengthen government.
Yeah.
You know, that's the primary goal, but it's through civil society engagement.
Okay.
You know, so showing that cooperation.
I can assume that to an extent there are certain challenges in terms of being able to sort of synchronize these efforts between the grantee and the government. Have you seen in the past, well, I know this is the first year you're
time.
embarking on something
Yeah,
like
yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but what are some of the challenges that are foreseeable in such an initiative?
So I would think maybe actually trying to make those connections between government and getting their buy-in in certain efforts. We actually went to speak to a few different government ministries to get their ideas to try to see what they could see as possible ways that they can work with civil society to do things. You know, so and those are some of the ones that I've already said here. But that's the kind of outreach that we're doing now is to try to get government's buy-in before and let them realize that there's this immense opportunity to have, you know, grants up to $400,000 a piece that can provide a lot of services, or it can do things that government has been wanting to do, we just haven't had the resources and ability to do
It's
so.
very important also getting the buy-in from the government, because nobody knows more of the challenges than the people, the actual individuals or the agencies, and partnering with the NGOs. The government might not be eligible for funding, but they can definitely work with an NGO who would be able to provide the services that they need, and they just collaborate, breaking that barrier, because we always have that issue about civil society think they're civil society and government are government agencies, and it's time for us to start to collaborate, and that's exactly what we're trying to push and encourage. But also we also encourage civil societies working together, because a lot of times we have a situation where 3 or 4 civil society organizations are doing the same thing. So we also want to ensure that they're starting
duplication.
exactly and maximize the use of the resources that are available, but making sure we make sure that government are a part of that pie, because at the end of the day, it's improving services that they provide to the general public as well. So.
Now, for 2 years, this grant focused on working with youths, at-risk youths specifically. How did you come up with these particular themes for this year?
Sure. So it wasn't really us who came up with it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
It's the U.S.
It's a
Congress.
mandate, yeah.
So U.S. Congress has mandated that our focus shift to this pillar. So you know we have 3 pillars of goals that we try to do in Central America. One is enhancing citizen security. Another one is promoting good governance and transparency. And the other one is prosperity, economic prosperity, trying to improve economic prosperity.
Yeah.
So
we're
this
shifting
time,
from security to governance.
Congress, But because of the funding stream, CARSI, it still has that citizen security flair to it. You know, so it's still going towards that direction.
So let's talk the details. So the current funding opportunity, the application, the call is now open, and it ends on the 19th.
19th of June.
So the 19th of June.
Yes.
Okay, so there is some time. So what would your recommendations be to NGOs at this point, or civil societies at this point, or even schools, as you pointed out, as to how to prepare themselves to apply for the grant? My specific question is, if I've never partnered with government, but I have an idea of how I can relay their services into a different area with whatever type of work that they're doing, do I need to make the approach to government, or can I apply and then you help to make the link?
Well, first of all, I would suggest that you take advantage of our question and answer session, a segment that we're having on the 19th of May at the U.S. Embassy. There's an option that for those who might not be available to attend personally, you could do it via virtually. Of course, but we ask that everybody RSVP by the 17th of May, which is on Wednesday, so that we can make all the arrangements and the details and share that information for people, individuals to attend. Now, the objective of our Q&A session is for us to give an opportunity to provide a little bit more details on the notice of funding opportunity, and also to address any questions or concerns that they might have, especially as you mentioned, maybe they're concerned about how they can make that link, or what level of assistance, technical assistance that we can provide. Those are the types of questions that are that will be addressed during the Q&A session, and it also provides an opportunity for civil society organizations to, start that conversation among themselves. So that is definitely the first step. Also for you,
it's the 19th at the U.S. Embassy in Belmopan.
Yes, on the 19th. Please do RSVP, or you won't be able to come inside.
And that information is on our Facebook page as well. So if you, if everybody can like our Facebook page and check out the information there, you'll find out about the notice of funding opportunity and this Q&A session, and you'll be able to, RSVP for that. But I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
And also do advice is make sure that you take a look at the notice of funding opportunity. Like Mr. Bland had mentioned, it's already on our website and it's also on Facebook. But to access the details in terms of the information, you can always visit www.grants.gov, and it provides a little bit more details. Take a look at the NOFO, review it. If you have plans to attend the Q&A session, look at it, and so that you come prepared with the questions that you might have. Like we had mentioned, this is a good governance, so we know this is targeting a different set of stakeholders than we have been targeting in the past couple of years. So things might be different. We have new organizations, so it definitely will be different for them. Some of them might be first-time applicants, so we want to make sure you get that opportunity to address any questions that you might have. We'll also have counterparts from the from Washington, D.C. who would be able to provide additional details if maybe there's something that myself or Mr. Bland might not be able to respond to. We'll also have those other counterparts there, or partners there, to be able to address your questions.
So once the grant has been awarded to a civil sector organization, is there a follow-up over the course of this particular initiative to measure either the way the money is being used or to measure the outcome of that particular purpose?
Sure. And I'll let Christine go on there too, because she's the one who actually does that measuring and evaluation.
Yes. As my title says, I'm the grant officer representative, so that's my job to make sure that you are, in essence, spending the money that you said, the way you said you were going to do it. We do, yes, and we spend, once the grant funding, once the cycle in terms of the first 2 phases have been completed and the proposal or the grant has been awarded, that's where the monitoring, another portion of the monitoring comes in, because monitoring and evaluation, more to monitoring, it starts from the time the proposal is developed, because we have to make sure that we are in tune with what the proposal is supposed to be. We can't wait until when the grant has been awarded to say, okay, let me read this proposal and make sure I know what's happening. No, it starts from the beginning, because we also provide that technical assistance to the organization, so that whatever your outcomes are, they're clear, to making sure that, because also part of the NOFO, we highlight specific indicators for which we ask that at the end of the program that certain things are achieved. So we have to make sure that we are monitoring to ensure that these things are put in place. And I always encourage our organizations, our grantee, always be open in terms of your communication with us. If you see that there's something that you're not able to achieve during implementation, come to us and let us know, you know what, so these things happen, whatever it is, so that we could provide that assistance to help you address your problem. So monitoring starts from when you submit that proposal all the way until that grant has been completed. And we do our best to try and provide whatever assistance available, because we have a team of individuals who are very capable, especially Mr. Bland, who'd be able to provide some of these guidance.
And to go back to your other question about if somebody should apply and then we help them to connect with the government, the answer is no to that. We're going to receive a lot of different applications, most likely, right? And what's going to separate the stronger ones from the weaker ones are going to be the ones that are most credible. Like if they've already done that groundwork and made those connections and say, I know I can work with the Attorney General's office or the Ministry of Human Development, to do this, and we already have this connection. That's going to make your proposal much stronger in our eyes.
Absolutely.
One of the things I know personally, I always encourage organizations when you're submitting your proposal. What you're doing with the proposal is you're selling your idea to a funder, because you might not get the opportunity to do the face-to-face and that one-on-one. So your job is to make sure you are selling your idea, you're selling your project in that proposal with the limited,
space.
Yes,
There's a lot
with the limited space. You are selling your proposal so that that you are able to address or answer any potential questions that your funder might have.
Yeah.
So if it's about strengthening civil society engagement with the government, how best can I do that?
Yeah.
What do I have to put in place? What are my indicators? One of the things we always stress on now more than any ever is not just solely looking at what your outputs are going to be. Don't tell me about you're going to train 50 people. No, it has to go beyond just training. You're going to train to achieve what?
Yeah.
What is the overall outcome of that? So sell your
I'm
idea.
glad you said that, because that was really going to be my next question. Because when you're talking about good governance too, some of the outputs, while you can provide tangible numbers, when it comes to the education, the awareness, or a change of a knowledge or attitude, it's a lot less measurable. Although I know any funder will force you to measure it. Will it be a matter of how many people are impacted? And I know I'm asking you about how one becomes better able to take advantage of the funding opportunities. But do you have specific goals in terms of being able to want to reach more people or deeper impact?
Right. I would say deeper impact is the bottom line of that. And as far as how they measure or what they measure, that's going to be up to the person who's applying, the organization that's applying, how they put it together, and obviously as we review all of the different applications, the ones that have the stronger measurable goals are going to be stronger applications, are going to be stronger proposals. So we're going to be looking at that. And as Christine mentioned, we're actually focusing a lot now on results, on impacts. I mean, as you know, we've spent quite a bit on citizen security in the country, and now in this budget environment that we are in now, where we're getting cuts and such coming through, we need to be able to prove to Congress, to Washington, that our spending is actually getting results. So we're going to be wanting to see how they plan to measure results, how they do a baseline study, and how they come out with how far they moved the yardstick, So yeah, we are going to be focused more on that.
All right. Let's talk eligibility requirements. Can I form my NGO this week and go and apply? Because I have a great idea and a partner in government I can use?
If you want, yeah. I mean, so any NGO is eligible to apply, and it doesn't have to be registered with the government of Belize either. Like I said, this can be
an international organization.
International,
Okay.
And we've seen this in the past. We've awarded some grantees in the past who've taken advantage of region-wide grant opportunities, because we offer these specific grants in Costa Rica and Panama. And we've seen organizations that put together a nice proposal for Panama, put together a similar proposal for Belize, and actually separately got selected on both. So it's open to international NGOs, it's open to public international organizations, like I mentioned, open to schools, universities, and such from the U.S. or Belize or around the world.
Okay. So a credible NGO.
Yeah. So not you by yourself saying this is my new NGO, but yeah. Credible.
Yes, because we do our homework. We'll check to make sure.
We have
I'm very well aware of
We have to. Yeah.
So other criteria to be able to apply?
Another criteria is make sure aside from the fact that the proposal, besides from the fact that the registered organization, make sure your proposal makes sense.
It's airtight and complete.
And complete, exactly. As I mentioned on our grants.gov website, we also provide information about what are some of the information that has to be provided. Screening for completeness is important, because we want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's, and you're providing all the information, your budget, your work plans, your monitoring evaluation plan as well, and also another part of the eligibility, not necessarily eligibility, but in terms of the proposal, is your sustainability mechanism. That's a very important part for us, because as funders we want to, like Mr. Bland had mentioned, we want to make sure that the money is being used wisely, and not just in terms of during the implementation phase, but after the grant has been exhausted, or after the funds have been exhausted, we want to ensure that it continues, whatever the impact is, it continues well afterwards. So pay attention to your sustainability mechanism.
And it's a pretty strict process, right? So all grants, all proposals have to be submitted on grants.gov. We cannot accept grants proposals anymore
Yeah.
by email. It's
Yeah.
going all through grants.gov, which is another place that people can find out more information. So if you go to www.grants.gov, you can search in the little search bar for Belmopan, and that'll bring you up to this grant. This is the only grant we have open right now.
Okay.
And then it'll have the notice of funding opportunity and all of that. Now, by June 19th, by midnight, I believe, is the closing time, and we have no control after that. You know, if your application is submitted by that point, then we can consider it. If it's not, then we
can't.
can't. We simply cannot.
Yeah.
And so there's two stages of review of these proposals. First, we do a technical review, just to make sure that you have all, like you said, cross your I's, dot your T's, just to make sure that we have every piece of the application in there.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, then you automatically get wiped away. So like last year, I think a good 10 out of 40 were gone just by the technical review. And then we take these to panel. So then there's going to be 2 review panels of people from the embassy and without the embassy, from outside the embassy, reviewing all of the proposals, and they'll rank order them based on a certain set of criteria that's actually listed in the notice of funding opportunity. It shows you by points how much we place per characteristic, like say on the originality of your idea, the sustainability of your idea, the credibility of your idea, your past history, you know, if you're a past U.S. Embassy grantee, or if you have a good solid, you know, history of doing grants. You know, so there's a whole range of criteria that we evaluate the grants on. We rank order them, then we present it to our chargé, who's Adrienne Galanek, and we present our findings, our rank ordering, and she'll sign off on those if appropriate.
Okay.
So that information is also part of the NOFO. So if there's any concern about what you'd be graded on, or how an application or a proposal will be evaluated, that information is definitely there. And Mr. Blunt had mentioned we have a panel that reviews. So please don't come looking for Christine if you're or Mr. Blunt. If your proposal did not get funded, that was not me. We have a panel because we want to ensure that there is that credibility and ensure there's transparency for the process, in terms of the process. So there is a screening process.
So it's 1.5 million?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the minimum application should be for 200,000, is that what you said? For a period of 2 years, right? And maximum?
400,000.
400,000 US
Yes.
dollars,
This,
right?
yeah, definitely. This is US, and in some of our meetings we were laughing because 400,000 US is a lot of money
Of course it is.
for one small civil society organization, for example, that has just one focus. So there we go again, talking about where it's important to also partner with another organization if it's possible, to partner and strengthen that collaboration with other civil society organizations. You might have a focus on one area, and another organization might be able to provide a service for another one. Collaborate, work together, especially, for example, maybe your organization might be focusing on human development. You know, work together and collaborate together to make sure that happens.
And if I can just say that, like, these grants over the past 2 years have done quite a bit. You know, like the focus then was focusing on at-risk youth, and we funded several different organizations like Ocean Academy, YWCA, Stan Creek IT Vet, Pathlight, Belize Credit Union League, you know, a lot. And we had a meeting just a month ago or 2 months ago that she organized, where we brought in all of our current grantees to see where things stand and what they were doing, if they were meeting their goals. And I was just purely inspired by what they're doing in the country all around. It made me feel much better about the job that we're doing here and such. I mean, really, they're doing some great work out there. And we were able to get them connected. Like she said, the whole networking thing. You're working on similar goals, you know, work together.
All right. And the deadline for application is, of course, June 19th, but you do have your Q&A coming up the 19th of this month.
Yes.
And you must RSVP.
Please do RSVP. I don't want you to be standing outside the embassy asking, can I come in?
And that's because there's clearance and stuff you have to go through before. So,
but also, as our Q&A session is on the 19th of May, but we gave the deadline for questions and questions is up to May 26th. So if you're not able to visit us or submit your questions by the 19th to hear those responses, we also have an extension up to the 26th of May that you can email us your questions or comments that you might have, and then we'd be able to respond to that and provide it via our website and Facebook so that everyone has the response to these questions, so everybody can have that information available.
And it's a web chat, so people can actually submit questions online while
Yes.
the Q&A session is going on, right?
It'll
If you
be
can't
live
make
streamed.
it or you missed that 17 RSVP.
And it'll be live streamed also.
All right. And that's on your website or on your Facebook?
So the information about it is on both, on the
Okay.
website and Facebook, but the live stream is going to be a separate mechanism.
Okay. Well, thank you all for stopping in and letting us know all about this opportunity. I think it definitely will be one that people should take advantage of. They just have to ensure that they're prepared for the application process and complete it as best fit.
No.
Right?
And I just wanted to say, as I mentioned to you before, I'll be leaving this year.
This is your final appearance on Open Your Eyes.
Maybe, unless you have me
Yeah.
back between now and
You can become a
October.
singer and come back and perform if you want, yeah.
But I just want to say thank you, though. Thank you for always being such a gracious host. Thank you, Asani, as well, and to your predecessor, William Neal, before him. It's been great. I'm glad you've always had good times with us from the U.S. Embassy, and thanks to the people of Belize, especially Belmopan, where we are. All of our embassy folks are living and working.
All right. Well,
been great.
Nathan, best of luck. 3 years went by very quickly.
It did.
And we're glad that you were comfortable enough to join us several times during that period to be able to talk about the relationship between Belize and the U.S.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to go ahead now and take our break. And when we come back, we'll be talking to representatives of Ecumenical Junior College, the winners of this year's Social Security National Tertiary Level Debate. And we're going to be talking about the topic that they argued against, I should say, and that's about going to the ICJ. So that's coming up after the break.